Ready when you are? All good? Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the First Exchange podcast with me, your host, Lydia Des Dolles, and I'm delighted to be joined in studio by IBO world champion MAXI Hughes.
Thank you for having me. Just in case
Get that belt up.
Anyone didn't believe us.
This one here, show it, this one here.
There it is. The new belt.
The new belt. Unfortunately, we needed to get a hook in here. We had to put our little shelf from behind it. Yeah. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Delighted to have you here.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? This is episode 7 since we started doing the new version of the First Exchange podcast. Bar 2 coaches, but world champion coaches, Dave Coldwell and Dominic Ingle. Everyone else has been a world champion. So for some reason, we were just kicking off with, and it's just the way it happens. So I'm delighted to have you here. So first things first, how is life as a world champion?
It's been brilliant. You know, I am back at work, which we're come crashing back to reality. But, you know, I think been quite popular on site. I've not been having that much work to do on site, but I've been doing full days.
Yeah.
Because everybody's coming round and chatting.
Pictures, signed autographs.
Yeah, I did. I've had a picture. I've asked for signed stuff. Been asked to bring obviously belt in, but
yeah.
So I think it's too much of a risk to get some paint on it. So I don't think I'm going to fetch it in. But yeah, so it's been great. Really good.
Were you surprised that social media was so surprised to hear that you were back in work on site?
I think so. You know, people presume professional boxer boxing on the event that I did. They presume that everybody's loaded. Everybody gets into a Ferrari and makes the way home, or you know, maybe not Ferrari, but just don't have to worry about going back to work. I booked an extra week off so I could recover and get over it and enjoy the moment. But yeah, straight back to work, keeping my feet firmly on the ground. But yeah, it's been. I put a tweet out and I just did it just for tweeting, saying, you know, I don't think what didn't help is my facial expression on the picture. I look sad. But that's not what's going on inside. Inside, I'm smiling, I'm happy, but it just don't come off on my face. I remember a few times being at work and people say, "Are you all right, Paul? You look like you've got weld on your shoulders at a minute." And I'm like, No, I am in a really good mood. I'm really happy, and you know things are going really well for me. Yeah. But my, you know what they say, resting bitch face. Yeah. My face doesn't tell the story of what's going on inside. So that tweet I put out, you know, seemed to send a lot of people unhappy. Like Eddie Hearn got a bit of stick saying, "Eddie, what you doing? Get this man full time." Yeah. This and that. I'm like, I do actually choose to go back. I don't have to go back, but you know, in the meantime, I've got sort of one eye on the future. I don't want to be on site for the rest of my working life. I want to, hopefully, whatever my fight money is, keep that to the side, not touch my fight money, and then go back to work and use my wages for paying bills, etc. And so that when I do retire from boxing, I'm hoping to have a nice big pot of gold that I can use for investments. You know, if my daughters want to do well in their sort of lives when they get older, do that. Just generally just make life easier. And you know, I give a lot of credit to my wife. I think she's still the breadwinner in the house. So without her, you know, this boxing and all the boxing through the years when I have had other time off training, it's all been down to her to support the household. So a lot of credit for my wife.
Can we talk about that for the moment? Because it's very it's an interesting kind of social topic, you know. It's kind of, you see it on, you know, social media and the memes, and it's always like, you know, Tupac or Conor McGregor, and it's always like their girlfriends that they had from the start, or their wives, and like, you know. And there's a great quote that says, a woman's loyalty is tested when a man has nothing, and a man's loyalty is tested when when a man has everything. And so like, when you understand the kind of way of the professional fighter and how tough it is and how difficult it is, you know, to hear that you have someone at home that's saying, "I'm going to support you and I'm going to allow you to go and, you know, chase your dream, and I believe in you." I imagine that is like a massive bonus or a plus in terms of you then wanting to go and achieve, you know, getting to world champion.
now's
Absolutely.
the time. This stage in my career now is where I can reward her. Like,
Yes.
we've been together since we were 15, so
Mm-hmm.
childhood sweethearts. So yeah, she's always been by my side, always supported me, and sort of I feel this is why I want to reward her, because over years boxing sort of been priority. We've had holidays cancelled, trips thingy, or when we have gone somewhere, I've been sat in corner miserable because I'm training and I'm dieting and I'm cold and I'm just fuming.
Give your resting bitch face on.
And purposely putting it on then. But so this time now I'm wanting to reward her, and hopefully I'm in a position now where I can plan my fights and plan everything more structurally, so we can say, right, fighting here, or we need to do this then, so we can go on holiday here, or we can go and do that, we can take kids there and just make her happy and look after her and treat her. Because I have previous fights, like the Martin Ward fights I had, Sam Bowen fight I had, it wasn't massive money I were on then, but I did take time off, and that's when she stepped in and covered everything and says, I'll look after you, go and chase your dream. I'll just be, running the house. And she still does that, bless her. She, the household, all everything, the bills, council, everything is, she just runs it. It's like a military operation. She has it nailed down. So
She sounds amazing.
Yeah, what a woman she is.
She sounds amazing.
So now's the time, this time in my career now is where I can reward her and hopefully, I might buy her a nice watch, something, or some nice treat. What she does want is, when we got engaged, obviously I didn't have loads of money, so the engagement ring I got her, it were okay. She's got a funny, not funny taste, but a specific taste. I had specific guidelines. It had to be a rose gold ring. And this was when the time when rose gold wasn't that popular. It wasn't properly on scene. So I went to about 5 or 6 jewellers. No chuffing rose gold anywhere. So I just made do with one I did find. So it's a nice one. She still wears it. But she says if I could have out sort of a nice item of jewellery, I'd like to renew my engagement ring. So hopefully I can make her happy with a new engagement ring.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to the updates on how you get on with that. But also as well, what you touched on there about having your pot of gold and your investment for future and deciding to stay with work, at this stage in your career. Do you put that down to, like, obviously having the supports at home and having a family, or would that be you? Would you be a very sensible character? And the reason I'm asking is we see so much in this sport that fighters get to a certain stage, they get to, a little bit more money, and they've struggled for so long. So I imagine then when it comes, it's very easy to go, I'm going out, I'm spending, you know what I mean? So for you, is it because you have a young family that, things are a little bit different for you?
I think there's a bit of that in there, but I think it's just where I'm from. I think I have always been sensible and I think just generally tight Yorkshireman. But I think, my mum was... Mum was she still is just a real grafter. She spent a lot of time as a single mum with 3 kids and a fairly big mortgage. So she sort of, without realising, we're not saying copy what I do, but just seeing how she went through life, always, as I was younger at school, she just always seemed tired. And it's because she was working nights at the Royal Mail sorting office. So she'd go to work, come back home at 6, have an hour's sleep before... She had to get us up for school, get us dressed, do school run. She'd come back, have another hour's sleep, and then go out cleaning for most of the day. Come back, have an hour, then pick us up from school. And then, like, for me, it were, before boxing, I did rugby. So it was like, get me to rugby training. Brother and sister did Brownie and Scouts. Brother also played football. It was sorting kids out there. And then obviously I started boxing, so it was like getting me boxing here, there and everywhere. And so she was just flat out, and then she'd try and sort that, have an hour before then go and doing a night shift. But she never once complained or out like that. So without, saying, we're just watching her and thinking she's just a grafter.
Yeah.
And we had we knew the value of things from an early age, growing up on council estates. So we never felt like we struggled throughout, ever wanted throughout. We were happy with what we had. But I think just being grounded and my feet on ground, and seeing her always like, like you daydream, I'd love to have a big house, this nice cars, nice things when I get older. Yeah. And I still daydream like that now. I think I'd like to have a big house, this and that. Yeah. So I think now things are starting to turn around for me, and remaining humble and just being sensible. I've listened to numerous boxers' interviews of it years, and seeing famous boxers struggle in retirement and like you say, blow the money. They come from most boxers are from council estates, so don't have a lot. So I've sort of had one eye in the future, always thinking I don't want that to be me. I don't want to get a bit of money and then retire and be like, right now I've got nothing to show for all them years grinding and risking my life getting in the ring. So quite sensibly, and I think that helps having my wife as a good woman in my life to say, let's think about things, let's try and be smart. If we come into some money, let's be smart with it, and let's not struggle later in life. So I think just by having the people around me and my family, it's just keeping me humble and keeping my feet on ground and being sensible.
Absolutely. Where do you think your self-belief has come from? When we look at world champion, I mean, there's only a small percentage of people who get there, and you've had a long run in this sport, you've got the experience. So to stick with your passion, with your goals, and to ultimately fight and keep going until you got here, what do you attribute that to?
Just persistence, I guess. But my confidence and self-belief has only really gone up to new levels since the John O'Carroll fight last year. Like the fights I'd got, I mean, the previous 2 times I fought for the British and didn't get it, I'd got there on merit. I didn't just get a voluntary. I was made mandatory. So I'd earned my way up. But when it did get to those big fights, I'll never forget the first time I boxed on Sky against Scotty Cardle. I think we were both like 10-0. So it were a massive fight for a central area. 2 unbeaten fighters, live on Sky. And the occasion did me. I were a beaten man before I even got in ring. Like, it helped, I think, Scotty with his momentum. He was signed by Matchroom. He was training out at Gallagher's gym. And then I always remember telling people, like, I had some trainers from Rotherham, and then when I looked across the ring from me, you've got Joe Gallagher, you've got Scotty Cardle giving it this at me, smashing his gloves together. And then behind him, you've got Anthony Crawler, Scott Quigg, and Paul Smith. Yeah. And I'm like...
Get your coat. I'm off.
Look who I'm against here, man.
Yeah.
And again, it's just experience again, but for what we're going through my head in them first 3 to 4 rounds were, don't get caught, don't get dropped, don't do nothing stupid because you're live on telly. Yeah. And that should never be going through my head. I should be listening to what my coach was saying, following their instruction, but I couldn't absorb what they were telling me because... my nerves had beat me and the occasion had got to me, and I got a little bit better in my other fights. I knew I were up against it when I boxed Martin Ward, but I did. It was a good performance, and it ended up a draw, which I do believe I should have nicked that decision. Yeah. And you never know, my career could have gone different, but I never sort of lived with that sort of regret. And but then again in the rematch at Leeds, the big occasions bothered me, and I felt confident in training, believed I could win, but then that self-doubt, them demons used to creep in on fight night, which now I've got this experience, I learned to deal with them where I didn't have the experience to deal with them. Like, it's funny story, it's a recent Disney film, Luca, have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, well, it's quite funny, like there's 2 young lads, they want to go really fast down this massive steep hill on a bike into the sea, and it's dangerous. And one of the boys says, just tell your demons, he calls his demons Bruno. says they call it, it's in Italian, it says Silenzio Bruno, and it means, I think, like, go away to your demons. Where I laugh at it now because I thought I could have done with this years ago, shouting my demons to go away. But I think the experience I've had just of it years, and the setbacks I've had and comebacks, and finally getting here, and I think it's all just experience that has paid off, and learning to do it. Like 11 years now as a professional, so there's not much I haven't seen. And I think as well, training alongside Josh, who's world class, he's held that IBF title, so that helps. Seeing how he deals with it, and chatting with him, he does a lot of visualization and stuff, which is I started to do when I did some work with Mark earlier, like some work upstairs, visualization, where I'd lay on my bed, close my eyes, and really get into deep relaxation and visualize things, and think what is it that's bothering me, why is it bothering me. So I felt like I got to the bottom of that, and like since doing that, the nerves, obviously I get nervous for the fight, everybody does, but I don't get to a point where fear sets in and them demons start coming. Before they even enter, I'm able to shut them out and get rid of them and just fully concentrate. But I've rambled on here to original question.
Please keep going. It's fascinating. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, something I've just learnt to deal with since doing that work with Mark, where every time I think about the fight, just visualise things in a positive way. And what I do is, probably like most fighters, do a lot. There's thousands and thousands of videos on YouTube of, your old-time boxers, how they deal with it. And one person in particular, Conor McGregor, obviously gets a lot of stick now, but from what he came from to the highs that he's reached, and I only really watched UFC because of him. Other than that, I wasn't really bothered about it. So seeing how he deals mentally with that side of it, because I believe that, in boxing, especially on them big nights where the Matchroom shows and your BT shows, all them big events and title fights, it's one up here. Yeah. Obviously, everybody trains hard, and you get your body in perfect physical condition for a fight. But if that's ready, but this isn't ready upstairs, you won't be able to deliver. Your mind won't be able to tell your body to do what it needs to do to get these wins and overcome the occasion, deal with the nerves, what come in, because they will always try and creep in fight night with them big occasions. It's hard not to. It's human nature. Yeah. But you've got to train your brain to learn to deal with it. And I feel over years that I've been doing it, I have learned to deal with that. And so when it did come round to the John O'Carroll fight, we got off of that fight, and I thought I can win this. And the belief that Sean has in me, and I got full trust and faith in what he tells me to do. He says, this is how we're going to do. This is his game plan. He says, trust me, you will beat him. And I thought, I'm going to beat him. And then, obviously, we got that result. For the final bell went for after 10 rounds, and I thought, I feel like I've won here. I feel like I beat him in the exchanges, finished on top. Didn't catch me a lot. But then, we had to wait for judges to get the scorecards together, and I thought, this feels like it's taking a lifetime here. But then, I got the win. Yeah. It was close. It was a close fight, but believed I got the win. Did enough to win. And then it clicked. I was like, right, I've got that win. I've got that momentum. I thought, I always knew I had one of them big wins in there, just to set the ball rolling. And when you hear about fighters talk about gaining momentum and having momentum in the career, this is what I've now got. I've just gone from strength to strength, and then just the way even now I think my mind's constantly learning, constantly getting stronger and adapting, and nothing phases me. I think as well experience helps. Yeah. Like I said, been around boxing a long time, been to a lot of big shows, boxed on them, watched them, been around the fighters that's been involved in the big fights. So it's all experience I've gathered, and when I am sort of there, I'm like a sponge, just absorbing everything, listening, watching, taking it all in, and now I'm using it. Now I'm using it for my advantage to get these wins and go on and achieve what I've achieved. And
also it feels like, your time in the sport to this point and the experience that you've had, they're all now going towards this story that you have as a sort of like underdog, you know, the Cinderella man, and it goes with the story, and it's, you know, for people like Matchroom, DAZN, it's like, okay, brilliant, now we can build on this, and here is a branding kind of avenue that we can go with Maxi Hughes and build them up that way, you know. And it's like coming from, you know, Yorkshire, like you say, and it's that whole, you know, working class man, working class person that loves boxing, and, you know, it's like an old school sort of boxing sort of relationship, you know. So it's been very exciting to see the journey kind of unfold.
Like my missus always says, because I am really naturally shy. I am a natural introvert. I remember my mum always saying, when I first started going to school, I just wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't engage. So my mum said, the teacher pulled my mum to the side saying, I think your child might need a bit extra help here, because it just doesn't engage, not doing anything. But now when I feel comfortable, and like my wife says, it's good now that people are, you're getting to show your character, because she is like something rubbish I come out with every day. She says, I'm glad other people get to see it now. She says, I've heard it all a million times before, but it's good that people are seeing your character. She says, because you are pretty funny.
Oh no, we're absolutely no, especially the build up to, you know, the Lara Warrington card was just, you know, it was good fun, and there was always good banter, and the clips were great, and that the video that you put up on Twitter about like was it the site manager?
Oh yeah,
saying like, you know, it'll happen one day, mate. You know, keep going.
One
like,
of them, I really didn't have time to explain it. And
we laughed in this office, like we watched it on repeat, because you've been, you know, I've been there. Do you know what I mean? I've been there with, like, you know, doing this. And people going like, you keep going, you know, and you're like, oh God, you know. I used to do music before this, and like people would say, and do you write your own music? I was like, I'm bloody signed to Universal Music, for crying out loud, you know. But you just let people have the conversation and stuff like that, you know. But it was really, really good, really great fun. Was it your mum who put you into boxing then from school? Your teacher saying you needed a little bit of confidence, or?
No, it was something. So before I did boxing, I was playing rugby league, but the mates I got at school were, we started playing rugby at school, playing for the school team, but then some of my mates were playing for Doncaster. I played rugby league, whereas school or union, and I'd rather play rugby league. Believe it's a little bit tougher. I know it's still a tough game. It's still rugby, but with all the kicking in union, how fast rugby league is, I just thought I'll have a go at that, because I was pretty fit and athletic, always out on my bike, running and stuff. So I thought, you know, I want to have a go at it. So I did rugby league for 2 seasons, and then I think it was heading into the 3rd season, in the pre-season training, as a team we went to a boxing gym, which is now Freedom Boxing Club, which I spent quite a few years trained by Jimmy Harrington and Dave Woolley. So spent quite a bit of time training there. So it used to be Pete Bell, excuse me, Pete Bell used to run it, and he had quite a lot to do with rugby. So as a rugby team, we went there for pre-season training once a week, you know, something different, just keep us interested, keep us build some fitness before season started. But I thought, I quite like this boxing, and you know, it's a solo sport. I want to have a go at this. So I asked my mum, so Mum, I think I want to have a go at boxing. She went, all right. She said, I think there is a lad who works at Royal Mail Sorting Office who used to do boxing. She said, I think he was Yorkshire champion. She said, so when I go into work, I'll ask him. So he came back and says, oh yeah, I used to go to Doncaster Plant Works, which is based in Exthorpe. It's got a great old trainer, Ken Blood, and Paul Harrison. So here's the address, is where it is. So we turned up. My mum says, right, I've found a gym, I'll take you. So I didn't realise that amateur boxing, there is still a season. So I turned up for like the last week of the season of the gym we're up in, that Ken used to close gym over at summer. So we turned up, he says, we're closing after today. So he says, come back in, I think it was like maybe 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was. He says, come, if you're still interested, come back then. So, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna, I fancy it. So, I kept on at my mum when we were gonna go out, and she took me back, and they says, "Oh yeah, you're back." So this was just right. That's it. So it was me who I just wanted to try it, and then I almost felt committed straight away. It was like I had my first session, and I remember it like it was yesterday. He says, right. He says, Ken used to watch the sparring. Like there were two rooms. There were room where ring war sparring were going off, and then out bags. He says, right. He got me some old smelly gloves out of a box. He went, yeah, I'll put them on. You just go on that bag in corner. I'm just going to go and watch a bit of sparring, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how you need to stand it and all that sort of stuff. So didn't know how to stand, and I just stood square on, and like could see all other lads in gym. Same when like, oh, there's someone new in. Let's just keep an eye on him, see what he's like. Could see him all just on the rump bag, just waiting. I just started smashing into the bag. No, didn't know what I was doing or out. And he came back and he went, right. He says, what handed are you? He says, I'm left-handed. He went, all right, southpaw then. So he told me how to stand, and he says, this is how you jab. And that were it. That's just how I got, and how I like sort of felt I had to come back. End of session, he were like, oh yeah, right, we'll be back in Wednesday, so I'll see you Wednesday, yeah? So I was like, right, he said see you Wednesday, so we've got to come back Wednesday. Yeah. And that's how it was. I never was like, right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be back then, I'm gonna do this and do that. It was just like, oh, he said come back Wednesday, so we've got to come back, Mum. Yeah. And that was it. And then I just sort of like whatever he said I did, like a robot. Whatever he said, and then before I knew it, I was sparring, and then, fast forward all that years, I'm here now. That's how it's always been.
But how old would you have been then?
Oh, 15 when I...
15. Yeah. So, like, I mean, this is the beauty of community boxing and community sports, really, isn't it? Where, a teen or younger goes into, a gym or a boxing gym, whatever it is, and, like that, stand square on a bag and like just starts, but you just don't know where it will end up. You don't know where that person will end up, And that's why these coaches are so important. These guys that are going in after a day's work and they're spending 1-2 hours, training 8 to 12-year-olds, like doing a little bit of drills and stuff. Like how important, and how, always say it, like how, what's the word? Like, underappreciated, I suppose, that they are.
I was going to say, give a massive load of appreciation for all the amateurs out there, because they don't get paid. No. They sacrifice, gyms that are open, they sacrifice in that whole evening. Yeah. And a lot of them also get the stress of looking after the gym, the building, the equipment. And
trying to raise funds for rent.
Exactly, yeah. And, fair, big, massive credit to them all, because, the boxers who go on and earn money, they've done it from people who just love the sport and sacrifice their evenings and the weekends as well for championships, traveling like when you're taking a fighter out. Like I remember being at school and fighting up in Northeast to like Newcastle, like they're just late nights. You're not getting back in while gone 12 o'clock, and they've still got to get up for work as well. Yeah. Next day they're as dedicated, if not more dedicated, than the boxers, because they've got to be at gym before them to open up. Yeah. And they're always the last to leave after cleaning up.
Yeah. And more, not that high profile, coaches or fighters aren't passionate about the sport, but it's a lot harder to be passionate about the sport when there's no real,
no reward, really.
No rewards, exactly. The reward is seeing these kids potentially go on to achieve something, which in your case would have been.
Even I think as well, the reward is maybe seeing just a real shy kid. He might not win any fights, but he might transform his life. He might become a more confident person. A chunkier kid comes in, he might lose weight and just be generally healthier. So he can say, I've helped him in his life. Yeah. I've helped him do this or do that. And as well, something else I have to worry about is, as a boxer, you've sort of just got yourself to worry about. Yeah. They've got a gym full of kids to worry about. And, credit to them, real credit to them.
Can you remember the first time you got properly hit in the face?
Not the first time, but I remember the first real shot that really hurt me. A kid called Michael Archer. He doesn't box anymore, but he came to watch me fight in Leeds. But he was real good with his right hand, nice and straight. He used to throw it. But I remember I'd sparred him a few times and I'd started getting to grips with boxing. But he threw a right hand, and first time I'd had a quick glimpse at the ceiling, and my head got snapped back, and I saw it and I was like, oof, that were a good shot. My eyes were watering. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. He's hit me on the nose here. But yeah, I think that particular shot, that right hand he caught me with, really stands out. But yeah, like sort of my first everything, like down to my first fight, my first spar. Got told off in my first spar because, again, the nerve. Like when he says, right, I think I'd only been trained twice, and then old Ken says, right, because he calls me Danny then, real name's Danny, says, Danny, you're going to spar tonight. I'm like, right. Nerves started building, and then Edgar, never had an Edgar on, so that my hearing was muffled.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to listen to what he said, but I'm looking at the kid who I'm going to spar, and he was bigger than me, and I'm like, it's like a fight, because I still to this day I hate confrontations. It's strange that I'll get in a ring and I'll fight, but hate confrontations. And that the first time I thought it was like, it's a confrontation, I'm gonna have to fight him. So legs started shaking, nerves were building. I not listened to a word Ken was saying, but whenever I had a bell in that gym, it was just down to Ken watching old clock ticker. He used to just time it. He'd say, right, time, go. Sometimes you could be doing 5-minute rounds. Can I go? Oh, sorry, it's time, lads, time. But this particular, my first spar, my hearing was muffled. It was almost like a blur. He says, right, time, go. And because I'm naturally left-handed, I'd not trained my right arm yet. So everything was left hand, chasing him round ring. And then before I knew it, he was running round ring because he was pretty new to it. And I'm chasing him with a cocked left hand like this round ring. And then all of a sudden, Ken got at me and going, stop. He says, that's not how you do it. This is not street fighting. Yeah. We've got a box. And he says, you don't do it like that. And that's when he was like, you've got to jab your way in, this and that. And they were like, right. And then that's when the red mist slowly come down. The red mist? Yeah. Now you get to appreciate sparring partners and stuff like that. And it all, got to grips with it that way. But yeah. What an experience. I remember that. I still remember them feeling. They used to have these big old pillow gloves. They never had no laces or Velcro, but they had like sort of tight there. But when big lads had them and stretched them on, they were just like big pillars on my hands.
It's funny though, isn't it, how like you remember things like that from like that probably at the time didn't feel that significant, but now when you look back on them, they you have that memory, and like you say, you feel the feeling of that experience. Yeah,
and even down to me, that's what one thing my wife says, I'll know if you've got a problem with boxing if your memory goes, because I've got a brilliant memory. And like down to my first ever fight back in round here, around Barnsley somewhere, in an old working men's club. Tiny little place, crammed in, absolutely red hot, and they were still smoking then. Yeah. So you could barely see out. And then
while boxing goes on.
Yeah.
You're joking me.
Yeah. So it was still smoking while you're in working men's club, like, and just like it was time for my fight, and like, there's no security like there is on the big shows. Yeah. Escorting the fighters to the ring. It
big Ash, isn't it? Ash from Matchroom. He does the main escorting. None of that.
We were trainers saying, excuse me, pal, excuse me. And then you see a little 15-year-old kid coming in, petrified. They're going, oh, look, lads, stand back. Fighters here now. And they're like, look, good luck, young'un, good luck. Spilling the pint on you.
Brilliant.
But yeah, what an experience. And I started out as a big puncher, me, as an amateur. I think I stopped my first 3 or 4 just by that crazy no right hand, just left hand chasing them. And because I was pretty fit and strong from rugby, so I managed to stop my first load. But after the first one, I didn't realise the referee had waved it off and sent me back to my corner. And I remember going back, Ken, what's happened? Why they stopped it? And I was like trying to catch your breath. What's happened? And he went, you've won. I says, what? He says, you've won. Referee stopped it. You've won. I'm like, have I? And I'm like, almost in disbelief. I'm like, and then he took my head guard off. I was like, oh, and then realised I'm in it. I must have had 200 fags in that minute and a half. That
passes the point.
Yeah. But yeah, girl, what a memory, yeah.
Brilliant.
I'd love to go back to that working men's
Oh, you're telling those stories. I was like, I wouldn't mind a night there. It sounds like a great night.
Yeah. Some memories then were. Loved them.
Do you, and touching on, like the guy in work and stuff like that, now obviously that you've won the world title, people in your area, have you got many people been like, I remember when, or,
Yeah, I've still got, and I need to arrange it, but old Kenny's passed away now. But Paul's running the Doncaster plant. They've moved gyms, but they're still in export. But I am going to go down and show kids. I would never no real standout amateur. I've just somehow got a steely resilience and great determination to thingy. So I can go down and explain. You don't have to be the best fighter in gym. You just got, with boxing now, you just got to have steely grit and determination. And don't let setbacks bother you. So I want to go back and show the young young kids there that you can achieve it if you really want it. Things can be achieved.
100%. And that what you touched on as well, that not let setbacks affect you. Like, that's not just boxing. That's like such a good lesson for life, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, that's, I think, the hardest part that people have in life is trying something new or getting to a certain point in a career or whatever it might be and getting a big setback and then going, it's not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just leaving it.
It's the same in everything in life. I do a lot of reading. Well, I say reading. I've got Audible.
Listen, whatever way you can get it.
I've got lots of books and I have read books, but God, it just takes me forever to read books because as soon as I start reading, I forget what I've read and I'll get to a page and a half and head's nodding and I'm asleep and I'm like, next day I'm like, I can't remember reading this page. So I've downloaded Audible and I listen to a lot of successful people, and you guarantee every successful person out there, like Richard Branson, for instance, just he's obviously super successful now. But he hasn't had it all his own way. He's had setback, companies fail, he's had to close this down, he's had to close that down. So in life, nothing comes easy. Like I say, if something were easy, everybody would do it. But and it is a good mantra just for life in general. Setbacks make you stronger and you learn from them and make you appreciate things when you do get although I'm having this success now, I first started boxing when I was 15, so I've been at this 16 years now. It's not come overnight and it's setback after setback. Like when I've had my setbacks, it means dropping back. Then my setbacks have been like on Sky, and if I'd have won, I could have then continued to be on Sky and having big fights always on telly. But for me, it's meant, right, I'm back to the small hall shows, struggle to sell tickets because people want to go to the big shows, the big events. So it's been a struggle. And recently, like my manager Steffi Bull, a big credit to him because the setbacks I've had, it means going back on his shows, the small hall shows, which are a platform for your local fights to build up and get wins, which I haven't always sold enough tickets to even pay my opponent. Like people need to realise on the small hall shows, it's all about selling tickets. If you're in a 4-rounder, for say, your first £1,200 is your opponent's. The next bit of money is to cover the costs of the fight and try and make some money for the promoter who's paid to put the show on. Then anything else after that is yours. And there's been quite a few times I've boxed for nothing, but I've just known it's never questioned my determination and desire to fight. It's for, I know I need to fight, I need to get a win to be able to continue and hopefully get back to a big fight. But there's been times where Steffi's just paid me out of his own pocket. I think he must have felt sorry for me. So a big thank you to Steffi, and for him still to keep putting his shows on and providing a platform for young fighters. I've spoke to him recently about, in the small all shows coming back. He had his first one at weekend.
We were there. Yeah, I covered it. Yeah, it was
everybody
great.
said it did well. Tickets did well.
Yeah, sold their show.
I'm glad. I'm happy for him because he deserves it. Because he almost felt like, when I spoke to him, he says during lockdown he was like almost glad because he's got his life back, spending time with his missus and his kids. He was dreading him coming back, like the stress and the hassle of the small all shows. But he says, if I don't put them on, where's the next Maxi Hughes? Where's the next Terry Harper, Jason Cunningham? This is the platform that we all came from. Yeah. And look what we've done. He says, so he feels like a duty to the area to put these on, to provide the lads and lasses with the opportunity to hopefully go and do something with their careers.
Absolutely. And that point in saying a duty of, like, that's it, right?
Yeah.
That goes back to the community, community boxing coaches, giving back to the community. And like, for me, they're the real heroes. Do you know what I mean? Exactly, that like people that, you know, are doing stuff to help the next generation or the communities when they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's doing it because deep down he loves boxing.
Yes.
It questions us at times where you've had enough of it, you've had a bad day, you think, I'm sick of it, I'm done with it. I've been there myself. I hung up the gloves in 2018 and I thought I was done with it, but that desire, that love deep down gets you, and you think, I can't turn my back on it.
Yeah. Do you, this might sound like a strange question, but do you love boxing?
I think I do, yeah. There's times when I don't, and now, because I've been around it, there were times where every bit of boxing, every boxing show I could possibly watch, I would watch, or I'd go to. Always buying boxing news every week, who's been out. Yeah. And I still do love it, and I watch boxing, but not as much as I used to. Yeah. But I am still a boxing fan. Like on my social medias, pretty much the majority of stuff I follow is boxing. So yeah, I do love it, and that's what, like, I hear. I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff about boxers who've retired and how they struggle, and I'm like, I hope I don't struggle. I hope I'm not a victim of that. Yeah. But it is going to be hard because like I've done it since I was at school. Some lads that do it even earlier. You're allowed your first fight at 11, and like Josh, gym mate, he had his first fight at 11. So it's pretty much all his life. He's boxed, and you're like, what do you do when you don't?
Do you understand now that you're in this position and you've done this for so long, why professional fighters may go off the rails, whether it's drink or drugs or women or alcohol or betting, gambling, whatever it is?
Yeah, absolutely, because you live a pretty regimental life. Yeah. And, when that's gone, I'm not there, but you can imagine what I've listened to, like the buzz around fight week, and obviously it wasn't that long ago for me, but the excitement, like, I'm going to a hotel today, I'm going to see other fighters, and having my pictures taken in my shorts, the promo, the press conference, and you're like, it's exciting, and you're really excited for it, and obviously when it all goes well and you get the win on fight night and the buzz of that, and when that's gone, you're like, what do you look forward to? And obviously there's your family and your kids, which is it's unconditional love and spend time with. But even still, like, when the kids are in bed and you lie there and you're thinking, well, where's the next adrenaline rush going to come from? Where's that feeling when like everybody talk, like what I've heard, everybody talking to you in the street now, like for me at minutes, everybody's still congratulating me and chuffed for me with a fight and the win and talking about that, and like in a couple of weeks it's going to be, so when's next fight, and then and then in my head I'm like, right, when's that date coming? Start training, let's start the process again, and it's exciting to think what's going to be next. So when that ends, it's like, what do you do? I think I'll be all right. Like I said earlier, I've got a great wife, Soph, my daughter Bo, who I will wear on my shorts. And I've got another one in 2 weeks, so that's obviously going to keep me busy, and I put my time into my family. So just hopefully that'll be enough for me.
Yeah, but you're right, what you're saying. Like, even when I interview former world champions, I hate even introducing them as like, you know, former world champion, because I always feel like it's, you know, that in that moment they might go, I used to be a world champion.
Yeah.
And I'm not anymore.
I'm sure they will remember the time when they had the van race, new world champion, and it felt like yesterday, and the memories will come streaming back to them.
And it's still a fantastic achievement. You know, no one will ever take you being a world champion away.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. And then also when you work in the industry, you see how fast paced everything is.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're flavour of the month, and then you know, maybe you lose, maybe you've 2 losses, and then no one cares.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I wanted to see on DAZN, someone says DAZN had put something about your fight or a little clip or something, so I wanted to see it. This were like maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 days after the fight. So I went onto their Twitter, to their media, you know, like where you click media. So I'm like, fucking hell, how far down is that? And you're like you say, it just moves on, right? That show's done. Well done, everybody. Now we're going to start getting ready for the next show. And you're like, it just, the circle just goes and goes. It's rapid, isn't it? Yeah,
it really is. Like, even that is exactly it. That, you know, there's so much of a hoo-ha made for build up, and then as soon as that the lights go out that night, the next day it's on to the next one.
And I remember I think it was Sunday because I didn't stay in the fighters hotel. Me and my wife booked an hotel just outside of Leeds because we wanted somewhere just so we could relax and stuff. So, you know, we'd got the fight over and done with, and we were like because she drove us on fight night. We left the hotel room and it's like, right, next time we come back to this hotel, we'll be world champion, we'll have a new belt. And then that was the case. We were there, and then sat round at breakfast next day. We were having breakfast and like, that's it. It's done, all over. And like, remember, I think for the fight, we knew like 15 weeks before the fight that we were having that fight. Obviously, we couldn't announce until Matchroom had announced, but sat there, we're like, God, how long has the build-up been? You know, 15 weeks ago, we were like, you know, getting them butterflies, this fight's coming, this is what's next. And then, like, sat here now, it feels like that, it's gone. It's been and done. And, like, right now what? It's just like...
Did you bring the belt to breakfast?
No, because I had to give it him back, didn't I?
Oh, of course. Yeah, they like to take it, do they?
That were even worse, even more of an anticlimax. Like, I've got these black eyes to show for it. What I was worried about staying in not the fighters hotel. If I stayed in the fighters hotel, when you go down for breakfast next day, everybody knows what's happened. Yeah. But I was worried at that fight. Obviously, we went after, we checked in after weigh-in, and I thought, I'm going to come round to breakfast next day. Everybody's going to be sat there looking at me with black eyes, thinking, "Look at this thug. He's been out round Leeds. He's got himself filled in.
Yeah.
And now look at him with his black eyes." But luckily, when we checked in, there was the manager and a youngish lad who were working there. And he said, "Oh, you know, you come for a weekend getaway sort of thing." And I hate telling it because I don't want to sound like I'm showing off, "Oh, I'm a boxer, this and that." But my wife says, "Oh, no, we're here for boxing at in Headingley Stadium, like quite quietly, it's not so everyone heard." But then the young lad says, "Oh, my mate's boxing on that." It's all right. I says, who's your mate? Because I knew everyone at bill. And he says, Brandon Stansted, who I think was second on the bill. Yeah. And I know Brandon. We've trained him, we've sparred plenty of rounds. So I said, "I know Brandon." I said, "Tell him Maxi said hello." And then later he came and dropped something off at his room. I said, are you going to watch tomorrow night? And then he went, "I can't, I've got to work." So, "Oh, no way." But then when we did arrive back, he was on the same shift with the same manager, and they were both there, and they just clapped, said, "Congratulations." Wow. We watched it because it was quiet in the hotel that night, so we got it on stream. So
brilliant.
And then what they then done is when the day shift came in, they says, "Oh, there'll be a lad, he's got black eyes, but he were boxing and he won world title last night." So that eased me into breakfast. Like when I come down and we saw the guy on desk, he's like, "Oh, you're guessing you're the boxer." Says we were told to say congratulations by night shift team. Oh. And it was same every member of staff then who came up, says, congratulations, we're told that you were the boxer.
Wow.
Yeah, so that eased it in. I didn't feel like I was being judged too much then. So I thought, at least they know.
Isn't that a lovely moment? Like,
yeah,
isn't that lovely? Like,
and I think what my wife said were really nice is it were low key.
Yeah.
Really low key, where I suppose it is nice in the Fighters Hotel, you know, like people who you really opinions who you respect, they come up.
Yeah.
But it's flat out, it's intense boxing talk. She says, what's nice is it's really low key.
Yeah.
They've come up, they've said congratulations, and then they're going back to the job. She says, whereas when you're in the Fighters Hotel, it's just reliving it, talking about everything you've both spoke about on the night. So it was nice.
Yeah.
So
how has your wife, because obviously she's been with you for so long. I mean, she's seen this entire journey.
Yeah.
So she's obviously also, you know, I say she has some great conversations or a great chat as well, because she's the one that gets to see how the room changes for you, you know, and how the people in it change.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So she's getting to observe, you know, Maxi Hughes, the superstar coming in, do you know what I mean? Or the world champion.
Yeah.
So how has she managed? Because now you do have a lot of media attention now, you know. I imagine there's a lot of people asking for photographs, you know.
Yeah.
And that's only going to get more intense.
Yeah, and she understands it. She knows how it works, and obviously raising your profile, and I'm humble. I'm down to earth. I'm not arrogant. So I will always have time. That one thing I did feel bad on, the entrance to Headingley Fight Night were just horrendous. They just not got the organisation of it down, because a lot of people were making their own way instead of us getting a lift from Matchroom, because we were close. We'll make our own way there. So we turned up at one gate, and then they were like, right, here's your wristband. You can't park here. You've got to drive all the way around, park right on the side.
Yeah.
So we got there, and they were like, right, where's Fighters entrance? There's all that gate that you came in. So I had to walk all the way around. Somebody actually sniggered at me. They weren't disrespectful. They were like, isn't that Maxi Hughes? He's fighting for a world title tonight. What's he doing walking around here with us? And I just thought, put my head down. But then some young lads spotted me, and the dad were like, oh, Maxi, can my young and get a photo? And I was losing my head because of where I had to walk. Yeah. And I just thought, I want to get in change room. I want to get my head on fight tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I never said no. I said, yeah, come on then. And then Dad had a pint in his hand, and he's trying to get his phone out.
Oh, stop. No, I can see it.
The young lad even piped up. He said, Dad, come on. He's
get your shit together.
And he's like, sorry. And then by the time he'd done that, people had turned around and spotted. They're like, oh, Maxi, come here. I'm like, oh. He says, yeah, come on, quick. And then that were it. And I was like, I didn't turn him down, but I did see one of the photos, and I think how I did feel was the look on my face.
A resting bitch face again, Maxi, was it?
It was how I was feeling, because I was like, I just want to get in, and I want to get my head on game.
But I mean, that's understandable, is it not?
Yeah.
You're not going in to play a game of golf, you know. No offense to the golf and what I'm sure you have to get in the zone there as well. But like,
sport,
you know what I mean? Like, consuming your energy, like the whole lot.
But my wife does see it, and there's some people like she's wary. Like when we had to walk out of venue, she says, put your head down, because there's going to be a lot of drunk people. And she says, and once one spots you, and bearing in mind she's 30 odd weeks pregnant, she says, I'm busting for the toilet already, and I want to get back to the hotel. I'm starving. Yeah. Because she'd not eaten out all night with her nerves as well. Yeah. But she's been on this journey with me. So one thing I will say about her, she's a great reader of fights and boxing. Her knowledge on boxing is absolutely brilliant. Really? Just because she does enjoy it. She does enjoy a good fight and stuff. And you know, one thing she's called a few times watching boxing, because she sometimes has a little bet on it. Yeah. Go on. What's your wife's name? Sophie. Sophie. Fair play to you, Sophie. She'll say, I'm going to call a draw on this fight. And a couple of times she's got it and all. No way. And you're like, fair play to you. I'll be sending her a message the next big fight night. Right, what's your bets? Go on, we put on a bet. Yeah, so she's seen it all. And she's now, I'm going to have to put her down on my books as bookkeeper, because she's doing my books. She's helping, trying to get me some sponsorships and stuff. So she's just all around, a good supporter of me, and never leave her. She sounds too good to be true. Yeah. But I mean, when you look back at that journey that we're talking about, is it as you expected it now that you've gotten that world title? No, I never expected. Really? Well, never. I've said it before. I turned pro with no real ambitions, and then at the time I had the same manager as Gary Sykes, who were currently British super featherweight champion. So I then started sparring Gary and watching a couple of Gary's British title defences, and I was like, well, I was doing all right with him. I thought, God, I'm doing all right with British champion here. And I was like, I wouldn't mind one of them belts. Like, I wouldn't mind being British champion. So then that was my goal, to be British champion, and I was sort of happy with that.
Yeah.
After losing for Central Area, it felt like British title was a million miles away. So, but I kept it as my goal, kept heading towards it. Obviously, I got a draw with Martin Ward in a British title eliminator.
Yeah.
Then I lost the rematch, so he was a step closer to that. I was a step further away. But I kept it in my goal, kept grinding towards it. Won a British title eliminator in Belfast against unbeaten James Friars. So I thought, right, I am closer now. Closer. Got made mandatory, and Martin Ward had gone on and got that British title, so it was a third fight with him for it, and really believed I was going to win. I think I might have been winning. I know on Tony Bellews, who was commentating, on his scorecard, unofficial, he'd got me ahead after 9 rounds. But myself not boxing 12 rounds before, Martin's experience in them championship rounds just got him that win. And again, something I learned from. But losing, just thought, I still want that British. So, and I was sort of content with that. And I never in a million years thought I'm going to be fighting for world titles. I had that little world champions fit in there. There's not many of them, and I had them up there on a massive pedestal, way up there. And I thought, I'm not even going to try and get up there on that pedestal with them. But you know, I just kept aiming for the British, and you know, it was only this year that I got it. And it was just like, right, now what? And then this opportunities came, and I thought, wow, I am going further than I ever expected. But I thought, I'm going to go here because, you know, my gym mates, my trainer, they all tell me I'm good enough. They all tell me I'm world class. So I thought, just go for it. What have I got to lose? I only wanted a British. I've achieved that. Just go for it. And, you know, now I'm here. And maybe it's that mentality, the no pressure, just go for it sort of thing that's paid off.
And from your last fight, you know, where you won the at Headingley, the moment with Josh, your teammate Josh Warrington, you know, as he's warming up, you go into the changing rooms and you have the belt and everything, and it's his reaction, you know, it's like that little clip of like how happy he is for you, you know, that sort of in itself symbolizes team, you know, like camaraderie, you know, support system, all those things. You see it in a 10-second clip of how happy that room is and that changing room is for you to come back in, you
boxing know. Boxing is a solo sport, but, well, it is a solo sport, but what goes into it is all team effort. To get to that point, it's a team effort, and, you know, you come very close with your training partners because you spend so much time together, and we all get on really well, so we're a good, close team, so... And it helps Josh's mindset. You know, his gym mate's just gone out and put on a clinical performance. So, you know, it's positivity in his mind. So, I'm sure it would have helped him for heading into his fight for his mindset. Yeah,
absolutely. Could you imagine doing anything other than this now?
What do you mean? Anything other than boxing? Sort of thing?
I know you have your little side piece going on, but I mean, boxing is your main thing right now.
Well, boxing is my job now. I'm just painting and decorating because it's my hobby.
Yeah, how lovely is that in itself? You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to do now. I'm trying to get some sponsorship so I can do it full time. So I can, like that. I did a 6-week camp, like off work. Got some sponsorship, so we're all here. If I mention them, Sunbelt Spars, Ben Webbs, Grabire, Hunters Weatherby, Joe Booth, Drew Bathgate, Ringside, and on my back we've got Mick Taylor Builders and Darren from DNEL. All them guys made it possible for me to have a 6-week camp, and I think I showed what I can do by being full time then. My previous performances in my previous 3, what I won, were good performances, but I feel like I took it to another level in Headingley. So that's what I want to do now. I want to picture myself as well, I don't want to picture it. I want to be a full-time athlete, and you know, like you see in so many other boxers who are doing it full-time, and I think that's the life I want. Now I'm sort of at the latter end of my career. I want to give it everything. Now I want to see how far I can go. I want big fights. I want to go to America, so I just want to see how far I can go, and I feel like being full-time will allow that and just bring the best out in me.
Absolutely. And as we say, you are very much in, you know, the pinnacle of your career and a fantastic point and spot. But when it is all over, how would you like to be remembered?
Just still working class hero. That'd be nice. Just somebody who's done it the hard way, never took easy fights, took his opportunities and earned. Is it that saying? I get it mixed up. Is it earn your stripes or strides? Stripes.
I think it's stripes anyway.
Yeah. I think let's go with that one.
Is it stripes? Our producer is also saying it's stripes.
It's stripes, right? Yeah. Someone who's
making strides, earning your stripes.
Yeah, can say them both. Yeah. But somebody who's just done it the hard way. Because then, I fought in the away corner many a time, not got the wins, but it's not deterred me. It's just spurred me on. So yeah, somebody who's just grafted his way to where he's got to and earned it all on his way there.
Well, I think you're more than on your way to achieving that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in. Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Brilliant. I really appreciate you coming in as well.
Yeah.
And congratulations, world champion.
World champion.
It is no easy feat.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That was episode 7 of the First Exchange podcast with world champion MAXI Hughes.